Welcome back to another episode of Turbo Garage, and today we're going to be getting started on this H6 powered Subaru Liberty. Now, I picked up this Subaru Liberty a few months ago as a car for my partner to have as her everyday daily driver, and it has since not become that. There are a few issues with the car, but luckily we picked it up for dirt cheap. Some of the issues involve this, all of this, and most importantly, this. Now, if you've previously watched this channel, you might remember this car from our introduction to Turbo Garage video. Now, if you have seen that, you will remember that in that video, this car was running and driving. You might be wondering what has happened since then. What has changed? This has changed. So recently I pulled out the EZ30 as it was having some head gasket symptoms. We knew this when we bought the car, that's why we got it. It was very cheap, and I figured I'd rather reseal one anyway, as these things do tend to start letting go at around the Ks that this car has done. So in today's episode, we're going to start tearing this motor down and replacing the head gaskets. Now, as you can see, this engine has had a bit of a hard life. It is absolutely filthy. So the first thing we're going to do is clean this thing up before we get it into the garage and start tearing it down. Okay, so now the H6 is relatively clean. It didn't come up as good as I wanted to, and I did run out of degreaser, so this will have to do for now. But anyway, now that it's clean, it's time to start working on this motor. So I'm going to start by draining the oil, and then we're going to take off the timing case, and then step by step we'll take it from there. I always find this part absolutely horrible when you've got to drain engine oil on a stand because you forgot to take the oil out while the engine was still in the car. So you have to try and balance a pan and get the oil to not spill all over your shed floor, and well, hasn't gone too bad, I suppose. Well, at least yet. We'll let that drain out. Alright, the oil is out of the motor, so now I'm going to go along, clean out all these timing case bolts, or Allen keys, whatever you want to call them. Clean out all the dirt built up in those, because these are super easy to round, and the last thing you want to do is be rounding one of these, having the worst night of your life. So I'm going to go around, clean them all out, then we can zip this guy off. One thing to mention is that these bolts, I believe they are 3 different lengths, and it is important that they go back into the right spot. So just either map them out when you pull this out, or note down where they go. That way you're not putting shorts and longs or something like that, you know. It's really important that you don't get those mixed up when you do put this back together. Alright, so we have all the bolts out, longs, mediums, and our shorts. So it's now time to pop off the timing case after I take off that harmonic balancer. Another thing you should probably do while it's in the car. I haven't touched one of these for a while. So yep, I'm going to take off this timing case. Oil's probably going to go everywhere, so I recommend putting some stuff down there to protect your concrete or wherever you're working. Alright, let's see how this goes. Small pry spot here. We've got some movement there. Just trying to break the sealant. It's kind of holding this guy together. Something better than a little flathead screwdriver is probably recommended for this as well. I don't know why I'm using this. I have proper pry tools, but hey, we're already here. It's always going to be a little bit of oil left in there, no matter how hard you have tried to prevent that. And there we go. That's now ready to come off. All right, let's have a look at the condition of our timing components. There we go. We can see if there's any slack in anything here. Bit of slack in this chain, honestly. There was a bit of a timing chain noise on this car. I think, well, I'm not sure if that's normal. I don't really know these motors well enough to comment on this, but I feel like there shouldn't be that much play there, but again, I don't really know these motors very well. Anyway, I'm going to rip all this timing stuff off because it is going in the bin. I have all brand new timing gear for this motor. I think it deserves it. And I think if you're doing the head gaskets, it's kind of silly not to retime the motor with brand new stuff. So I'm going to rip this off and continue tearing down. Next is the intake manifold. And then after that, we're probably getting ready to take the cylinder heads off. Not much more to go. All right, it is a new day and progress is continuing on the EZ30. I didn't get quite as far as I wanted to last night, but it was freezing cold as it's coming into winter here. So where we're at now is I've got all the timing components off the front, and now it's time to get this rear timing case off. I've been told that this is a pain in the ass because of how many bolts there are. Do try and label these as much as you want. I've got like a little organizer box there. So I'm going to go ahead, zip that off. It'll take a while for me, but it'll be quick for you guys. And I'll update you when that's off. Now the timing case is off. Finally get a good look at the motor. Having a suss at the front of it. Doesn't actually look too bad in here. Bit of debris and dirt, but we're just about ready to get these cylinder heads off. I think next step will probably be the intake manifold. That makes the most logical sense to me. I've never done this, by the way. I'm an EJ man. I've never touched an EZ. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. Now, the first thing I always focus on when removing an intake manifold is making sure that all the electrical connectors are disconnected so that when you do lift the manifold off, the harness can come with it freely. So I've gone ahead and disconnected all of those. I'm going to start unzipping the intake manifold now so we can lift that one off. So I'm right now figuring out that these engines are pretty different to EJ's. Well, I knew that, but a lot more different than I thought. Yeah, usually on an EJ, when you unbolt the manifold, the fuel rail and all that comes with it, but on an EZ it doesn't, so I'm disconnecting the fuel rails. It looks like the harness will actually stay on the motor, not the manifold, so I'm now disconnecting it from the manifold as well. Yeah, there's just a bit more to disconnect. There's a couple of extra steps, which I think is why the EJ is a bit more popular when it comes to modifications. But I'm going to keep chipping away at it. Okay. We're finally off. That was a lot more complex than I thought, but I think we're now at a stage where we can get these cylinder heads off. Alright, now if you can't already tell, we have our first cylinder head off the motor. This was a bit difficult for me, I'm not going to lie. It's my first time working on an EZ. Well, difficult's probably the wrong word, more of just a learning curve. I've done VG30s and EJ20s plenty of times, but I've never done an EZ, at least to this extent. So definitely a big learning curve in figuring out what's needed, what I have to actually unbolt, what I don't have to unbolt. They have 10mm Allen key or hex, I guess you'd call it, head bolts. So make sure you have the right socket for that. And yeah, here's a look at our head gasket. Everyone's going to have different opinions on whether that's fine or not fine, but there it is. Thanks to Movie Magic, you guys aren't going to have to watch me undo that one. I'm going to quickly zip that one off, and then I'll give you guys an update. So as you can see, we've had some success in tearing down the EZ30. We've got the cylinder heads off, and over here, we've got the block all torn down. Pistons all seem all right, which is a good sign. I'm standing right in the light always. There we go. So it's all looking good. The next step is going to be sending these heads off to get machined and get the valve stem seals replaced. And then we get to have the fun of putting it all back together. So they're going to get sent off now, and next time you guys see this, we'll be putting it back together. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.